All right, friends, we're going to start our lesson today on page 251, 251. Okay, and I want you to draw a little cloud around the title, which says to find one, right? That means a whole, okay, like an entire line. I want you to notice, look at number 12 here. Look at this number line, right? How is this number line different than the ones we've worked on before? And you can pause the video and take a look back at the previous pages. How is that different? I hope you notice that there's not a whole represented, right? There's no one. We've got 0, but we're missing the one whole. So we have to figure out where we're going to put that. So the directions tell us to divide each number line into the correct unit fractions. We've done that before, right? And then label each point. Right? And then locate 1 on that number line. Okay, so I want you to look at number 12. What I notice is there's a 0, right? And then we have 1/4. So if I know 1/4 is right here, that's my first unit fraction, I know that this entire number line needs to be in 4 equal pieces, right? And this is 1 out of the 4 because it's the 1/4. It's the first hop. So I have to add points on my number line, right, that are going to be the same length, the same size as this hop until I get to 1. So then I know where my whole should belong. Okay, so if I kind of eyeball it and see how long this hop is, I could make another hop about the same length. So here's 1/4. This would be 2/4, right? And then I'm going to make another one about the same distance. And we know that's going to be 3/4 because we're adding a unit fraction every time. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So if I then do one more length about the same size, right, that's going to be 4/4, which we know is the same as 1/2. I'm just going to put the word whole right there as well. Okay, they've got 0 on top here, so I put my 1 on top at the end. Okay, all they gave us was this unit fraction, but because I know that this number line has to be in 4 equal pieces, and this is the first out of 4 hops, I just had to make my second hop, my third hop, and my fourth hop out of 4. So my 4/4, so I could find 1 on my number line. Okay, we can do the same thing for a few more of these. We're going to challenge ourselves as well today. Okay, let's look at 13. This is very much like the one we just did. It shows me 1/3. So this is my first hop on my number line, right? So I know that this number line needs to be in 3 equal pieces, right? And this is my first piece. So they all have to be the same size because fractions are equal sizes, right? They're the same amount. So I'm going to go down here. It looks like about the same length. Right? And here, about the same length. Here's 1 hop, 2 hops, or 2/3, 2 hops out of 3, and then my third hop out of 3, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. 3/3 is the same as 1/2. Okay, that's why you really need to pay attention to that denominator because that tells you the total number of pieces, or in this case, hops, right? Because we're just hopping. Okay, let's take a look at number 14. They give us 2/3 to start with, not 1/3, right? So I know this is my second hop. So if I were to start at 0, right, and I'm at 2/3, somewhere I have to find 1/3. So it's going to be the equal distant, right, from 0 There's my first hop, my second hop, and then my third hop. So I had to think back. If this is 2/3, it's going to be in 3 pieces, but this would be my second hop. So I have to figure out where's my first hop, right? So right in the middle, right in between 0 and 2/3 is where I'm going to find 1/3. Okay, and then we know this last one is 3/3 because it's the same as 1 whole. Okay, so they may not always give you that first unit fraction to hop to, like they did above. Okay, let's take a peek. Let's look at the next two because these are a little bit trickier. Okay, look at the fractions that they give us. 9/6, and this one is 11/4. What do you remember learning when that top number, the numerator, is larger or greater than the denominator? Okay? When it's larger, it means it's more than 1 whole, right? So this is more than 1 whole. Remember, when the numerator is larger, that equals more than 1 whole. Okay? So we're going to kind of point arrows to that because I want you to draw attention to those, knowing that if the top number is bigger, then you've got more than 1 piece of licorice here, okay? But that denominator tells me how many pieces each of my pieces of licorice is going to be. So 9/6, how am I going to figure out 9/6? Okay, I've got to find 1, so I know 1 is going to be 6/6, right? Because 6 on top of 6, the same numerator and denominator. That shows me that it's 1 whole. Okay? So I've got to figure out how I'm going to find my 1 whole. Okay? And if you remember, we talked last time, if 9/6 is bigger, right? And we have to get from 6/6 to 9/6. We're going to go to 7/6, 8/6, and then we get to 9/6. So we really have 1 whole and 1, 2, 3, 6. Right? This is 1 whole, and there are 3 sixths that we have to go beyond that. So I have to have, each piece is worth 1/6, but I have 9 of them. So I'm going to take my 0 to this fraction right here, and I need to break this into 9, right, equal pieces so that I can find that whole piece, because this is the 9th hop. Okay, 9, right? 6 is an even number, but remember, we're trying to find that whole. We don't know where 1 is. So in between here, this whole number line is going to be in 9 equal pieces. So how are we going to make that into 9 pieces? 9's not an even number, so we're going to have to kind of eyeball it. It's going to be a little tricky, but we're going to try to just make some marks to make this into 9 pieces. So I'm going to start here and see if I can make equal pieces. And I'm going to go back and count. This is when we talk about trial and error. Let's see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did a pretty good job that first try, right? So I had 9 pieces, and I want to look at how wide they are. If I'm going to take like maybe my fingernail or my pinky nail, and I want to see how long that piece is, it's a little bit smaller, isn't it? Maybe I look at my pencil lead, and I see that that line is about halfway up the brown part of my lead. So then I could kind of measure that benchmark every single time. Okay? It's kind of hard to figure out. You know that each whole is going to be in 6 pieces, right? But even after we get to 6/6, we still have more fractions to go to get to 9/6. So here's 0/6, 1/6, 2/6, 3/6. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Oops, I forgot a number, didn't I? 6, 6, 7, 6, 8, 6, and 9, 6. So I can take kind of my little marks here and I can take those out. I was just trying to show you that that was a whole plus 3/6 more, right? Let's check again. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6. Okay, now you're going to notice they're not exactly the same distance apart, but they're pretty close, right? It's not real obvious that they might be a teeny bit different. But remember what my job was? I have to locate 1. So where is 1 on this number line? Well, it's right here because we know that 6/6 is the same as 1 whole. Okay, I didn't take a ruler and measure, right? I just kind of had to guess, and maybe I have to erase and try again. I want my pieces to be as much the same size as they can be. Okay, when that number on top is bigger than the number on the bottom, numerator is larger than the denominator. That tells me I have more than 1. Okay, so my 1 was going to be somewhere on that number line, but not close to here. Okay, let's try this one. 11/4. Okay, I know that 1 whole would be 4/4, right? What would be another 4/4 if I were going to add another whole to that? That would be 8/4, right? So this is going to be 1. This is going to be 2. And if I were going to add another 4/4, another whole, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12/4, that would equal 3 wholes. Okay, well, I have 11/4, not 12/4. So this is almost 3 whole pieces of licorice. Okay, we know, right, that the bigger the denominator, the smaller the piece, right? We learned that. Well, look at this one. These are in sixths, and look at the size of those. Okay, the bigger the denominator, the smaller the piece. Okay, so these pieces are going to be a little bit bigger, aren't they? So let's just try. Let's just see what we can do. We're going to have 11 hops, okay, to get to 11/4. Let's see. Let's just try. Remember what I said. The bigger the denominator, the smaller the piece, right? So these pieces are going to be small. These pieces are going to be smaller too. Uh-oh, that doesn't look okay. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I only got 9 there. Look at, I made them about the same size. They need to be smaller, don't they? So they need to be smaller than the ones above. Let's try this. Let's see how many hops. It's just trial and error. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, a little too far, right? So I'm going to have to even that out somehow. So I think my pieces should be about that size. Okay, and you might be frustrated right now, and that's okay, right? This is all new, and it's okay to be frustrated because you're going to learn something that way. Let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I'm so close, right? 10 hops. So close. So a little bit too big. I've got to make it just a teeny bit smaller. Let's see if we can do it. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We did it. Okay, it doesn't look perfect, but that's okay, right? This one was a tricky one to do. Right? And anything worth doing is worth doing right. So we want to try to take our time. Right? And if math is frustrating at times, that's okay. You can take a break and you can come back to it. Right? But I know that 4/4 is one whole. So another 4/4, which would be 8/4 altogether, is going to be 2 wholes. Okay? So let's label these. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. There's my one whole. 5/4, 6/4. We said 8/4 was 2, right? 2 and 1, 2, 3/4 more. So my next hole would be somewhere over here off of my number line, right? This looks messy, doesn't it? That's okay. That shows our thinking. This is hard. Okay, I'm not going to ask you to do any super hard ones like this where you have to figure it so many little pieces out. That's a little tricky, right? But I think you can definitely take a number line, right? And you can make it into 3 equal pieces or 4 equal pieces or even 6 equal pieces, right? To find the holes. Holes, WHOLE. Remember, that means one. Okay, we're not talking about holes that we dig in the ground. Okay, so this concept's a little trickier, but it's something that you need to learn, something really important. Okay, so just take your time and try your best.